When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
We have a criminal alien problem in the United States, and your state is a sanctuary disaster.
That illegal immigrants in the state of Arizona were more than twice as likely to commit murder and overall far more likely to commit crimes of all kinds, not immigration crimes, but violent and property.
We face a crisis, a real, serious, and sustained crisis at our borders. We have tens of thousands of illegal aliens arriving at our doorstep every month. We have drugs, criminals, and violence spilling into our country every week. Illegal immigration is simply spiraling out of control.
Because we have an invasion of drugs, invasion of gangs, invasion of people, and it's unacceptable.
These are just several of the remarks that President Trump and other conservatives have made to justify not just the construction of a border wall on the southern border, but also the national emergency he declared almost a month ago. Since the end of last year, President Trump continually demanded Congress for the money needed to fully fund the construction of the border wall he has promised since his presidential campaign. This resulted in the longest government shutdown in history, as well as Congress giving him only a small fraction of the money he originally asked for. Therefore, on February 15, 2019, President Trump declared a national emergency to rationalize the use of money intended to fight the drug trade and develop military construction for the border wall. The response to this declaration from both Democrats and Republicans were rather negative. This quite obviously angered the Democrats, as they claimed that it was an executive overreach since Congress holds the power of the purse and they had already denied his request for more money to build the border wall. But Republicans were also quite displeased, as they believed President Trump would set a precedent for presidents using a national emergency to advance their own agenda. Therefore, to fully understand whether this issue is truly a national emergency or not, both the conservative and liberal perspective as well as the facts must be considered. The president, along with many other conservatives, have repeatedly stated that his reasoning for the construction of the wall is to keep out drugs, criminals, human traffickers, and gang violence. However, according to the Associated Press fact-check, although a substantial quantity of marijuana and a small amount of heroin are transported between ports of entry, most drugs are transported through transportation that pass through the official crossings or do not need to come through the border wall. Most deaths caused by drugs are also from prescription medicine distributed by pharmaceutical companies, and some are made with fentanyl from China. They also report that 40% of people in federal prison are not from this country, but they are mostly imprisoned for immigrant crimes, not violent criminal activity. These facts show that although illegal immigration from the southern border may have some impact on drugs, criminal activity, it is not nearly as bad as what the president and his compatriots have expressed. Democrats, on the other hand, have been claiming that illegal border crossings have been at their lowest levels in the past few decades, and that this national emergency was incredibly unwarranted. However, the Associated Press fact-check states that the lowest numbers of arrests on the border was in 2017, and it has actually increased by 31% in 2018, and there have been even more earlier this year. The illegal border crossings have certainly decreased a great amount from the past few decades until now, but the Democrats may have exaggerated how much it has declined. I recently interviewed a liberal performance artist who works with a lot of immigrants and does performances related to immigration, and this is what she had to say on the subject.
Declaring something in a national emergency is a really, really important, a very important maneuver in American politics, and it can't be taken lightly. The concentration for a border, in my opinion, would be you'd be better off spending money on surveillance equipment and infrared surveillance for if you really want to work on areas where you feel there is a large amount of illegal border crossing. But at the same time, there needs to be a more humanitarian approach to the people that are caught or brought through, or because, for example, thousands of people have died in the desert trying to cross. Thousands, children, families, men, women, teenagers. The humanitarian approach to dealing with the fact that people are so desperate to leave something bad that they'll risk their life to try to get in here. This is no party.
From the information previously stated, it can be seen that although illegal immigration may be a problem in the United States, it is most likely not as urgent or significant enough to declare a national emergency. President Trump may have even admitted that the national emergency was not as necessary as during his speech he stated,
I want to do it faster. I could do the wall over a longer period of time. I didn't need to do this, but I'd rather do it much faster.